Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, a top Israeli official asserted that the Syrian acquisition of the S-300 would not hinder Israel's operational abilities to prevent Iran's entrenchment in Syria. The deputy leader of the Iranian-backed Hezbollah Naim Qassem announced that his organization was fully prepared to deal with any Israeli aggression. Russian President Vladimir Putin asserted that the nearing end of the Syrian civil war must be coupled with the eventual disengagement of all foreign forces from Syria. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo stressed that while the United States will not reveal its intention regarding how it plans to address Russia's delivery of its S-300 surface-to-air missile systems to Syria, Washington views the move as a very serious escalation that presents greater risk to the stability of the Middle East.
I'm certainly not going to comment on our intention on how we will address that, but my comments before were true. Having the Russians deliver the S-300 into Syria presents greater risk to all of those in the affected areas and to stability in the Middle East. We consider this a very serious escalation.
The comments by the American top diplomat came in light of Russia's delivery of the advanced S-300 missile system to the Assad regime, which Moscow claims aims at protecting Russia's military personnel that operate in the war-torn country. The move has infuriated the United States administration, which accused the Kremlin of breaching a Cold War treaty that banned Russia from deploying ballistic missiles in the area. In contrast to Secretary Pompeo's reluctance to reveal a possible American response, U.S. Ambassador to NATO Kai Bailey Hutchison warned Russia that while Washington remained committed to a diplomatic solution, Moscow must halt its deployment of the S-300 to Syria, or else the United States will seek to destroy it before it becomes operational. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, a top Israeli official asserted that the Syrian acquisition of the S-300 would not hinder Israel's operational abilities to prevent Iran's entrenchment in Syria. In an interview to Israel's Army Radio, Minister of Regional Cooperation Tzachi Hanegbi emphasized that the operational abilities of the Israeli Air Force are such that those S-300 batteries really do not constrain Jerusalem's ability to act. Hanegbi further noted that messages have been relayed to Damascus on multiple occasions, in which Jerusalem has clarified that it will not step back from its commitment to prevent Iran's entrenchment in Syria. The Israeli minister, who is also a non-voting member of Netanyahu's security cabinet, pointed to the fact that Israel had already destroyed Syrian missile batteries and is capable of doing it again if the need arises in the future. With regard to Israel's military qualitative edge, Hanegbi underscored that the Russian systems were no match for the American-made F-35 stealth fighter jets, which became operational last year within the Israeli Air Force. It is important to note that according to reports revealed in 2015, Israel had trained against a Russian-supplied S-300 system in Greece, as Moscow had already deployed both S-300 and its more advanced S-400 surface-to-air systems in Syria, a fact that, according to Minister Hanegbi, had long been factored into Israeli operational planning. According to assessments, the Israeli Air Force will step up the use of the F-35 fighter jets to deal with the threat. In response to TV7's request for comment, however, the IDF emphasized that it does not comment on its operational activities. Now to Lebanon, where the deputy leader of the Iranian-backed Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, announced that his organization was fully prepared to deal with any Israeli aggression. During a Hezbollah supporters conference in Beirut, Qassem stated that he was not impressed by Prime Minister Netanyahu's threats against his organization, as it does not affect the work Hezbollah puts into improving its preparedness and weaponry. Qassem's remarks were made in response to the claims Netanyahu made during his speech at the United Nations General Assembly last week, during which he identified 3 locations near the Beirut airport where Israel believes the Iranian-backed militia actively converts inaccurate projectiles into precision-guided missiles.
So I have a message for Hezbollah today. Israel also knows what you're doing. Israel knows where you're doing it. And Israel will not let you get away with it.
Hezbollah's deputy leader stressed in response to the Israeli threat that he does not believe that Israel is interested in dragging itself into an all-out conflagration with Hezbollah and its allies, while emphasizing that his Iranian-backed militia is fully prepared to deal with any Israeli aggression if it happens, even though it does not expect it. Now to Damascus, where Syrian President Bashar Assad revealed that Syria has reached a major understanding with Arab states after years of hostility over the country's civil war. In his first interview since 2011, the Syrian leader stated to a Gulf Arab newspaper that the years-long conflict in his country was nearing its end, a fact that brought most of the international community to terms with the immediate victory of Damascus, which remains the sole legitimate authority in Syria. Assad noted that many Arab and Western delegations have already begun visiting his country's capital to prepare for the reopening of their respective diplomatic and other missions, a reality which, according to the Syrian president, proves his position. Assad further stressed that soon the civil war will be over, a critical step that will allow Syria to resume its pivotal role in the region. Meanwhile, in the city of St. Petersburg, Russian President Vladimir Putin asserted that the nearing end of the Syrian civil war must be coupled with the eventual disengagement of all foreign forces from Syria. Putin stressed in a joint press conference with visiting Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz that the disengagement of all forces would also include the Russian military.
Что, на мой взгляд, можно сделать и к чему мы все должны стремиться? Мы должны стремиться к тому, чтобы вообще никаких войск иностранных третьих государств на территории Сирии не было. Вот к этому нужно и двигаться.
With regard to the Idlib agreement, which was reached between Moscow and Ankara, President Putin voiced confidence in Turkey's sincerity to respect the terms formulated, including the proposed demilitarized zone. That said, he stopped short of elaborating on any consequences in case the rebel organizations in the northwestern Syrian province would breach the accord. Now back to Washington, where U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced Washington's decision to terminate the 1955 Treaty of Amity with Iran, a move he stressed was long overdue. The American decision came in response to a demand by the International Criminal Court in The Hague, which ordered the United States to lift the sanctions on Iran that affect the import of humanitarian goods, products, and services linked to the safety of civil aviation. According to Iran, the Trump administration violated the terms of a bilateral treaty between the two countries, which deemed the newly imposed sanctions illegal, a position adopted by the court's presiding judge, Ahmed Yusuf. In response, the U.S. decided to terminate the treaty, a move that revokes the legitimacy of the court's ruling. During a press briefing at the State Department, Secretary Pompeo emphasized that instead of choosing to alter their malign activities across the world, the Islamic Republic continues its charade of propaganda with complete disregard for their own people's needs.
The choices that are being made inside of Iran today to use money to foment terror around the world, to launch ballistic missiles into airports throughout the Middle East, to arm proxy militias in Iraq and in Syria and in Lebanon. Those are dollars that the Iranian leadership is squandering. They could be providing humanitarian assistance to their own people, but have chosen instead a different path, a path of revolutionary effort around the world, showing utter disregard for the humanitarian needs of their own people.
Thank you for joining us. You can also watch us at TV7israelnews.com or at TV7.fi. For any updates from Israel and its region, visit our Facebook page or YouTube channel at TV7 Israel News. For any comments, please send your emails to israelnews@tv7.fi. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Yair Pinto. Have a good evening, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.